like this show so much, and I'm so excited to tell you about it, and I'm also so nervous that it's not going to do well because the ad campaign does not do the show justice, that I'm a little bit nervous for this review. I have so many things to discuss with you. We're going to do a spoiler review for sure. I think this show might blow up and be really a big deal, even though it doesn't seem that way now. In fact, I tweeted about it the other day, and many of you were like, I totally forgot this show even existed. What the hell? Amazon, support this. It deserves it. But anyway, we have a lot to discuss here, and I look forward to hearing your own thoughts about it down below. There are lots of surprises on this show, though. Please don't spoil anything in the comments. And if you can't help yourself, at least mark it as a spoiler comment. All right, here we go. So where I started my notes is that it would be hard for me to like a piece of entertainment, movie or TV show, more than I like The Boys. Although, to be fair, I am the perfect audience for this show. I even wrote my own comic book deconstructing superheroes. So yeah, I really would say it's a perfect show. So Amazon was kind enough to give me the entire first season, not this halvesies stuff like Netflix does. I've watched the whole thing, 8 episodes in advance, and I binged them as fast as one possibly could while also covering Comic-Con. Now, again, this is a non-spoiler review, but I will say, and again, don't worry, this is non-spoiler, but the season ends on an incredible cliffhanger. Like, it actually made me a little upset. And that's why I'm telling you about it up front. I was like, what the hell? I love the show so much. I was like, am I ever gonna find out what happens next? And then I found out they are filming the second season right now, which also has not been, I think, well enough publicized. They should have gotten right out there. This is definite 2-seasoner. So, because so often we've seen shows or movies set up this amazing next chapter that we never get to see. I'm looking at you, Alita Battle Angel. But we're going to get to see the story continue. So I just want you to know that. So you're not as infuriated as I was when I saw the end of episode 8. Oh my God, it's so good. I can't wait for you to see it. All right, so I would say that The Boys is the Avengers meets Breaking Bad. How's that for a log line? I love it. And I think that's, again, I'm not overselling it. I think it's totally accurate. You might be like, really, Grace? Is it really that good? It is. And if there's an entertainment god, it'll be a huge hit. Amazon, to Jack Ryan, I thought was pretty darn good, but that never totally caught on. They swear they're making more of it. I think this should be like Mrs. Maisel big, although even that doesn't seem to be as big as it should be. This should be like Stranger Things, if there's an entertainment god. But again, the reason I'm worried is that the ad campaign for this show does not do it justice. It totally focuses on the boys, whereas the actual show is perfectly balanced, focusing equally on the boys, but also the 7. The 7 is the magic sauce. I'm like, why aren't you playing this up more? And the show structure is actually pretty brilliant. With all due respect to the comic, it's far more sophisticated and wider in scope. I've read the comic, at least like the first trade, and I thought it was solid, but it's nowhere near as good as this show. Basically, you have 2 newbies joining each group. So you have Jack Quaid's Hughie joining a group of people whose lives have been ruined by superheroes. And then there's Erin Moriarty's Starlight, who is joining said group of superheroes, right? And there's a lot of I don't want to give anything away. Oh my God. It's, again, so well written, incredibly well crafted. And I'd like to point out that there are also shades here, obviously, of Justice League. Not just from the 7, which is, there's a little bit of, obviously Homelander is Superman meets Captain America, but for the most part it is a take on the Justice League. But that mimics indie comics. The Justice League is over the years has been the most iconic, so it's been the most again deconstructed by other writers. But not only is the 7 like the Justice League in membership, but also the boys are a bit like Batman, a group of Batman, right? Without the money, vigilantes trying to figure out how to take down people with superpowers, right? And as I said, it's all incredibly sophisticated. Eric Kripke, and if Supernatural is this good, I can see why some of you love it so much and why it's been around for so long. It's been around for too long, I can't get into it, it's too late. But I'm on here day one. I'm pre-day one because I got the episodes in advance. But Kripke has crafted a show that organically I love Kripke, Officer Kripke. That's a great name. But anyway, it organically covers so much ground in a very tight 8 episodes. There's no lag. There's no episode where you're like, you could have cut this one. Instead, I'm like, give me more episodes. It covers the business side of superheroes, how the government would actually feel about them, celebrity, religion, and how hard it is to actually save people. Oh my God, there's a scene here which is so dark and amazing. Oh my God, I can't wait to discuss it with you. Also, there's a really interesting mystery, which makes the whole thing so compelling. And again, to see the whole thing from both sides, from the top of the 7 Tower to the people down below on the ground, well, that's not only interesting, but it's also a lot of fun. Also, Amazon and Sony, the 2 big companies behind this show, have spent the money. Also, kudos to Seth Rogen. This is a real home run here. He has a quick cameo, which I thought was very funny, talking about the VCU. Vought is the name of the company that runs the 7, so they make movies too about the 7, and so obviously that's a take on the MCU. I thought that was really clever. But anyway, they spent like a lot of money. Not a movie level of money, but the show is smartly written, so there's never a reason for there to be any huge battles, right? But there are key sequences with a surprising amount of VFX and a wide variety of locations. That all brings this superhero world vividly and convincingly to life. Also, they spent the money on the 7 to make them seem real, from their costumes to their headquarters to their ad campaigns. I love that. I never once had the magic of the show broken. I was never like, oh, you couldn't afford that, or oh, I know why you did that. It was exactly like reading a really good indie comic. And I think that's fantastic because I've described the best Avengers movies like what it's like to read a really good mainstream comic. And on that note, it's very exciting to me that mainstream audiences who sadly don't read comics, although they're a little weak these days, some of them are still very good, but to see mainstream audiences who have fallen in love with superhero movies get to discover this side of comics that the rest of us know, where mainstream superheroes are again deconstructed, that's just really exciting and special to me. I love that. In addition to the writing, a huge part of what makes this show work is the cast. Here are my faves, right? And we'll go into more detail for the spoiler review. I can't talk about everybody here, but in the spoiler review, we'll talk about everybody. All right, so number 1, Anthony Starr is Homelander. Wow, star turn. I can't believe this guy. It doesn't hurt that he looks eerily like Chris Evans as Captain America. Plus, a lot of what he says here echoes the conversations in Civil War. Even if you're on Team Cap, I might be a little more inclined to see evil Captain America, but I think anyone would love this performance. Because Starr creates his own amazing character. From the way he moves his cape to sit down, I love that little quirk. It's fantastic. To the way he just looks at people. I mean, wow, still waters run deep. Indeed. I love evil Superman stories, as many of you know, and Starr's Homelander is the perfect evil Superman. It's everything I've ever wanted in like a live action evil Superman story. It's just amazing. Also, so much heat vision. As some of you also know, I love Superman's heat vision, and they use it incredibly well and often here. Wow. Again, wow. I was like, people gotta watch this show. Please watch this show. Next up, Elizabeth Shue as Madelyn Stillwell. Stillwell manages the 7, and that's all I'll say here. But Stillwell is given some of the best corporate dialogue I have ever seen in a movie or TV show. This is actually the way that suits speak. And as you can see, it's a weapon as sharp and as deadly as any tangible one. Shue delivers each line perfectly, as well as a complex, layered performance. I really liked and respected, I can't say too much about it, but I really respected her character. I thought it was great. I understood where she was coming from. Then next up, Jack Quaid as Hughie. What a summer for the children of famous couples. And while Jack looks mostly like the male version of Meg Ryan, in some shots when he smiles, it's like Dennis Quaid is trying to get out. It's a little unnerving, actually. I was like, whoa, like Dennis Quaid just kind of like pushed through his son's face. I was like, ah! But overall, not counting that, Quaid does a fantastic job here as someone walking the very thin line between good guy and bad guy. I really liked his work here. And of course, Carl Urban, delightfully mischievous, which is when he's at his best, right? He takes a little bit of a back seat sometimes, but as the show progresses, especially in the season finale, you start to realize that he's the yin to Homelander's yang. Don't worry, there are no spoilers here. Some of you guys try to infer things from my comments and say, oh, you spoiled it. Trust me. If you are inferring anything from that, you're inferring the wrong thing. But anyway, it's not so clear cut who's the good one and who's the evil one, right? I love that. And they're as much alike in some ways as they are different. That's fascinating to me. And it really came together again in the final episode of this season. And so I hope to see more of that in season 2. Chase Crawford also has a surprisingly interesting role, and I'm surprised at how far he's willing to go here throughout the season. Like, his character is ridiculous. And I think the performance could have come across that way if Crawford hadn't committed as strongly as he does. There's some Me Too stuff with his character. And again, a lot of grays here. They do a really good job of making situations not seem just clear-cut black and white. Then there's Israeli actor Tomer Capone and Karen Fukuhara, Katana, right? Who both make very strong impressions in their supporting roles. Again, I don't want to give anything away. But everyone's good. The entire cast is good. I loved every single character. And I loved every single actor playing them. I think they're all amazingly cast. But if I had to be totally honest, Moriarty as Starlight and Jesse Usher as A-Train are a bit weak and bland. They just didn't pop at the level of the rest of the cast. Also, Haley Joel Osment. He's in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. He has a really fun role as well. But those two, they just weren't at the level as everyone else. So sometimes I'd be like, I wish this was a different actor. But their roles are both so well written, their power set's so visually interesting, and both are integral parts of the story, and both are good actors. They're not bad actors. It still works. If I had wishes to grant, I'd probably tweak them just a little bit. But also shout out to the always fun Simon Pegg, who cameos as Hughie's dad. It's basically a cameo. He's in a couple of episodes. But the 2006 comic drew Hughie to look like Pegg. And if this show had come out then, Pegg would be playing that role. So this was a nice way to still include him. Finally, warning, the show is very adult, okay? Full frontal male nudity, lots of, but no female frontal nudity, which I thought was interesting. But full frontal male nudity, lots of extreme swearing, like the top layers of swearing, top levels, graphic gore and violence, and some sex scenes towards the end. Like you watch the show and you're like, oh, it's weird. The one thing they don't have here is sex scenes, and they kind of make up for it at the end. But still, not at the level of the other stuff. But I have to say, I never felt that it did any of those things for shock value. They were always in service of the story. Plus, I never felt not once that they crossed the line. And it's not anything you wouldn't find on HBO, but I'm just letting you know, particularly when you decide who to watch it with. So, watch The Boys. I'm pretty sure it's going to be your new favorite show. And then be sure to come back here for the spoiler review. We have so much to talk about. All right, so, of course, as always, share your comments down below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and you can check out some more videos right now.